This is a 35-minute shoulder balancing flow. So we're going to open the tight parts and strengthen the weak parts, and overall just leave the muscles of your shoulder girdle feeling happy and a bit more balanced. We are going to start lying down on our backs with some sort of overhead grab. So opposite wrists, opposite forearms, elbows, or maybe triceps. If you do get that opposite tricep grab, your head can go ahead and lay on your arms. And then we're just going to be here for a bit. You're even welcome to pause the video and stay longer if you'd like. Let the eyes close if that's comfortable and begin to move into your practice. Begin to deepen the breath. Begin to disconnect from the day that you have had or the day that you're about to have. And just begin to fully become present here with this inhale and this exhale. And when you're ready, we'll release the arms and start to make our way into a tiny little ball. Knees into chest, maybe chin up to knees. And then we'll move into Ekapada Apanasana. So right knee will stay into the chest. Grab onto that shin, left leg stretches long. And with your inhale, we'll take your left foot up towards the sky. And then exhale, slowly lower that leg to hover just above the floor. Let's do that just one more time. Inhale, lift the leg. And then exhale, lower, and let that foot hover just a couple inches off the ground. Feel your belly button drawing down towards the floor, and feel your neck and shoulders release. And let's switch sides, left knee in. Same thing, so we'll inhale and take your right foot up towards the sky. And then exhale, lower that leg to hover above the ground. One more time, lift the leg. And then lower and let it hover a couple inches off the floor. And really just focus on relaxing through the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the face. And then begin to bring the knee up into the chest, little hug, and then stretch long, arms overhead, legs out long. Start to engage your core, start to hug the belly button down towards the ground. And then right leg's going to float off the ground just a couple inches. Inner thighs spinning towards the floor. Neck and shoulders relaxed as much as possible. And let's switch sides, lower the right leg and then lift the left. And then from here you have a choice to continue lowering one leg and then lifting the other, or beginning to find this kind of flow where you're lowering one while the other is lifting. So for a moment, neither foot is on the floor. You'll just move there a few times with your breath. There will be space beneath your low back, but just try to pull your belly button down towards the ground and really minimize the space. And try to keep your head, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders all relaxed. Just a few more times here. And then we'll begin to bring your knees to your chest and roll over onto your left side. Let your hips stack and your shoulders stack. And then we'll take that right arm up and over into your twist. Let your gaze turn towards the right. Legs relaxing into the floor towards the left. And just breathe deep into the belly. A few breaths here. And then we're going to begin to move in the next breath or two into a pec stretch. So you're going to roll back onto that side, press yourself up, and then slide your left arm underneath your body into a cactus shape. You can't see it in the video, but elbow in line with the shoulder, forearm and palm flat down into the ground. And then just use your right hand to kind of roll you towards your left side any amount more. Let your head relax onto the ground. And then we'll slowly press up and release and roll all the way over onto the right side. Hips stack, shoulders stack, and then take that left arm up and over into your twist. Let your gaze look out towards that left hand as your knees drop and relax into the floor to the right side. A few breaths here. And then we'll begin to move into that pec stretch again. So press yourself up, slide that right arm underneath you, elbow in line with the shoulder, palm and forearm flat into the ground, and then use your left hand to just kind of control how much you roll onto that right side, even past the right side a bit. Let your head completely relax into the floor. Gaze out at the floor in front of you. And then we'll press on up. Come all the way back over Knees into the chest on your back. Roll a little bit side to side. And then we're going to start to roll up and down the spine a couple times. Just get that nice massage all the way up and down the spine. And we'll roll all the way over onto hands and knees when you're ready. Once you're in table, we'll begin to move through some cat-cow, inhaling heart forward and exhale, rounding the spine. And I specifically today want you to just build an awareness of the movements of your shoulder blades here. Feel how they kind of wrap around that upper back, pulling together and pulling apart. Last cat here. As you inhale this next time, we'll come into neutral table. Tuck your toes under, lift the knees, pull your hips back towards your heels, and then we'll pull ourselves forward into plank and bring the right knee into your chest. And then back to floating table, plank with left knee into chest, and just move here a couple times with your breath. Let's go one more time each side. And then this next time as you come back, we'll keep both feet on the ground, come forward to plank, and then back to floating table and to plank. And just follow your breath through that one more time. And then we'll lower our knees back into table. And we're going to find that cat-cow movement again, but just to the upper back now. So your low back's going to stay flat. And you're just going to pull the shoulder blades together and then spread them apart. And you'll find this kind of deflation and inflation of the upper back. And you can continue to do that in table here, or you can move into plank with the knees down, so knees behind the hips, or you can do this in plank pose. So there's 3 options there based on kind of what feels best and what's the appropriate amount of challenge for you. Again, the low back is staying flat and neutral, and you're finding this lift and lower between the shoulder blades. Last time here, and then we'll pull back into downward facing dog and start to flow into plank pose, rolling the heart forward as you inhale to plank, and then leading through the hips as you exhale back into downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times with your breath. And then the next time you pull back into down dog, we'll lower the knees to the floor for table. We're going to come down onto the elbows below shoulders, and lift the forearms away from the ground. And then I want you to start to pull your hands together and pull them apart. And then just do that a few times with your breath in a rhythm that feels natural. And just find your own personal range of movement here. So this is going to specifically target the infraspinatus, our external rotator of the shoulder girdle, the rotator cuff. You might start to feel this outside the back of the armpit. Try to keep your neck relaxed and your jaw relaxed. And then we'll come back up into table and then right into plank. And that area you just activated in the back of the armpit, just feel that softly hugging in. Keep that hug in as you come back to down dog, and we'll flow between down dog and plank a couple more times. Inhaling forward to plank and exhaling back downward facing dog. And then we'll start to walk your feet forward to the front of the mat, finding your standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Generous bend to the knees, and maybe just find some sway or movement in the body, and we'll begin to roll up to our mountain pose, Tadasana. At the top, inhale, take your hands up to the sky. Exhale, fold on in, diving back into the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. And then on your exhale, we'll take your left leg and step it back into a lunge. And start to find some cat-cow lunge. So exhale, straighten the front leg and dive in. Inhale, bend the front knee, pull the heart forward. And just move here a few times with your breath. The next time your heart comes forward, we're going to step back into plank and build our chaturanga. So puff the upper back between the shoulder blades. Keep that engagement and start to pull the heart forward. Roll forward on your toes and then lower chaturanga. Inhale into the back bend of your choice and exhale right on back, downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. And then with your next inhale, we'll take your left foot to the sky, Slow, controlled step forward of that foot between your hands. And we'll drop the legs into warrior one. So heel comes down. Start to melt your arms forward and then bend your elbows and hover the forearms off the ground. So elbows will be in line with your shoulders, hands active into the floor, and elbows just barely hovering above the ground. And then inhale, come right on up, warrior one. Big reach up to the sky. And then exhale, hands down. Go ahead and step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, come all the way up to stand, mountain pose, hands into heart on your exhale. We'll do that again, other side. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, dive in, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then on your fold, we'll take your right leg, step it back into your lunge for cat-cow lunge. Exhale, straighten the leg, fold in. Inhale, bend the front knee, pull the heart forward. A couple times with your breath. And the next time you bend the front knee, we'll plant the hands, come to plank. Press the ground away, round your upper spine. Then pull the heart forward, come forward on the toes, chaturanga, into your back bend. And right on back, downward facing dog. Again, settling here for a couple breaths. And then we'll inhale, right foot to the sky. Control your step forward as you bring that foot between your hands. Set the legs in warrior one. Start to reach the hands in front of you. Elbows in line with your shoulders. We'll start to bend the elbows, kind of wrap your elbows in and under, and just barely hover them off the ground. Hands actively pressing into the floor. And then we'll inhale, hands to the sky, warrior one. And then exhale, hands to the floor, step forward. Halfway lift on your inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise on up, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands down into your heart. Inhale, reach the arms on up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift on your inhale. And then exhale, jump or step back, stepping to plank, jumping to chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend as you're ready. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot up to the sky. Again, controlled step forward. And we'll come up into your crescent pose this time, high lunge. We'll bring your arms down into cactus arms, elbows in line with your shoulders, and start to just rotate the hands up and back, and then down and back. Don't push the range of motion, just explore it. Try not to let the elbows drop up and down. And then the next time you pull your hands up and back, we'll come forward into warrior three. Just try to keep your hands higher than your elbows, and then let your hands drop down to the floor, and we'll roll that right arm all the way up into your revolved half moon. Keep that left hip lifting. And then we'll slowly drop back into our revolved crescent pose. So left arm reaching forward, right arm back. And we'll find that same exact pose all the way at the back of the mat. Right arm forward, left arm back. And then we'll open up warrior two with that left leg forward facing the back of your mat. Right into your reverse warrior. Right hand down the back leg. And then reverse trikonasana, straighten your front leg. And then we'll find Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. And then right on back to your reverse warrior. Nice controlled step back. And then we'll windmill hands to the ground and take a vinyasa. Your choice of one or two-legged. We'll meet up in downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides. Inhale, left foot to the sky. Exhale, step forward into your crescent lunge. Come on up. Elbows out into cactus arms. We'll find that range of motion again. So elbows stay in line with the shoulders, and then hands just drop down and back, and then up and back. Again, don't force it, just explore it. Next time the hands pull up and back, we'll keep them there and come forward into warrior three. Just try to keep your hands higher than the elbows. And then drop your hands down to the floor, and we'll spin open into revolved half moon. Feel that left shoulder blade pulling into the spine. And then we'll drop back, revolved crescent. And then up and over, same pose to the front of your mat. Left arm forward, right arm back. Right into your warrior two, into reverse warrior. And then straighten that front leg for reverse triangle pose. Ardha Chandrasana with your breath. Half moon. Right on back to reverse warrior. And then hands to the floor, vinyasa of your choice, and we'll meet up in downward facing dog. We're going to move through that again with our breath. So inhale, right foot to the sky. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, come up to your lunge. And exhale, cactus arms. Drop the hands down and back. And then up and back. Come forward into warrior 3. Hands above the elbows. And then drop the hands to the floor. Inhale, revolved half moon. Right arm spins up. Revolved crescent on your exhale. And then all the way over to the back of the mat. Same pose, revolved crescent. Reverse warrior with your breath into reverse triangle pose, and then up and over Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. And on your exhale, we'll drop back, reverse warrior. And windmill, hands to the ground, vinyasa of your choosing. We'll meet up again in downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot to the sky. Exhale, step it forward and follow the breath up to your crescent pose. Exhale, elbows to cactus, drop the hands down and back, and then up and back. Warrior 3, hands to the floor. Revolved half moon on your inhale. Exhale, revolved crescent. Revolved crescent to the front of the mat, following your breath. And then legs into warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle pose, and then up and over into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Slow drop back on your exhale, reverse warrior, and then vinyasa of your choosing. If you liked that flow, feel free to pause the video and repeat for as many times as you'd like, or we can continue on here in the flow. In your down dog here, we'll just move a bit, marching feet, wagging tail, just keep breaking up tension. And then when you're ready, we're going to take your right foot up to the sky and step it forward for a lunge. Left hand's going to stay down, right hand will spin up towards the ceiling. Start to firm into that left arm. Feel your outer left armpit kind of hug in and under. Stay there if you'd like, or slide to the left pinky edge of your foot and start to slide to side plank. Your right foot can be a kickstand if you'd like. Feel long through the arms, and then we'll bring your right knee up to the chest and step it right back forward into your lunge. Hands to the floor. We'll bring your knee into your chest, lift the foot, round the back. One-legged plank pose. One-legged chaturanga if you'd like. Right into your back bend and right back to downward facing dog. And we'll do that on the other side. Left foot to the sky. Step it forward for your lunge. Right hand will stay down. Left hand will rotate up towards the ceiling. Start to prepare that right arm for side plank. And then either take the kickstand version or the fully stacked version. You can also stay in the twisted lunge where you started. Focus on lifting out of that bottom arm. And then we'll take your left leg back into the lunge shape. Press into the ground, round your spine, pull the knee to the chest. One-legged plank, one-legged chaturanga. Right into your back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank, lower all the way down onto your belly for some locust pose, but with a variation. So take your arms out to cactus, forehead to the mat. Keep your elbows down, lift your hands up away from the floor. And then elbows, and then head and shoulders. Keep the hands higher than the elbows. Feet can fly if you'd like. Nice steady breath. And then exhale, release, and soften back into the ground. We're going to go the opposite direction this time. So I want you to start to lift your shoulders first this time, then your elbows, then your head, and then your hands. Try to keep your elbows higher than your hands this time. Again, option to float the feet if you'd like. And then exhale, go ahead and release. And we'll push up away from the ground. Coming into table and doing some side-to-side cat-cows or just any movement that might feel good in your spine and in your low back here after those back bends. And then right on back to downward facing dog. We'll inhale and take your right foot up to the sky. Step the foot forward. Warrior 1 on your inhale. And then we'll drop your hands back behind you for a clasp. Really opening through the heart. Knuckles dropping towards the ground. And then we'll start to lift up Warrior 3 with your clasp. You can stay lifted, or you can start to fold into standing splits and let your clasp fall back behind the head there. And then slowly we'll lift all the way back up and into your warrior one. And take a little back bend there at the top. And then we'll humble into our warrior. So go ahead and dive on in. And then we're going to come up, release the clasp, shift your feet for warrior two stance, and then come right into your reverse warrior. And let your right elbow bend and let your arm drape over the head. Completely relax there. And then we'll come up and over for extended side angle with the same variation in the arm. So let your left elbow bend and let your arm just drape over your head. And then inhale, come up and find Gomukhasana, cow face arms. So right elbow pointing up, left elbow pointing down. Use a strap or a towel if that's helpful. We'll lean forward halfway, 45 degrees, lengthening through the right elbow and all the way up the left side of the body. Always the option to just take traditional side angle instead. We'll keep the cow face arms as you open up into horse pose, knees out, toes out, heels in. Feel free to move a bit side to side if you'd like. We'll just breathe here for a couple breaths. And then release your arms, right forearm to the right thigh, left arm up and over for a side lean, and then switch to the left. We'll move here a couple times at your own pace. And then we'll come to center and find eagle arms, right arm underneath left. Inhale, elbows to the sky, and exhale, elbows into belly. Just crunch in a bit. Keep sinking low into your horse pose. A couple times here. And then we'll release the arms, open back into warrior two, windmill hands to the ground, and find a vinyasa back to downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, when you're ready, we'll take your left leg up and back for the other side on your inhale there. And then step it forward, come on up, warrior one. Find your opposite clasp, so opposite thumb on top. When you're ready, let the knuckles drop down towards the floor as your heart lifts up towards the sky. And then with your breath, we'll move into warrior three with the clasp. Maybe play with dropping into your standing splits there, letting the arms drop back overhead. And then slow, controlled step back into warrior one. With a little back bend at the top. Exhale, drop into humble warrior. Strong legs. Inhale up, release the arms and shift the feet for warrior two. Right into reverse warrior, let the left elbow bend and that arm just drape over your head. And then we'll do that same thing in extended side angle. So left forearm to the thigh, right arm over the head with the elbow bent, arm draping over the head. And we'll inhale and come on up. Gomukhasana, cow face arms, left elbow up this time. And then once you find some sort of grab there, we'll lean halfway forward, lengthening through that left elbow. Inhale, keep the arms, come into horse pose, toes out, heels in. Again, maybe just sway a bit side to side or just be still. And when you're ready, we'll move into those side leans. So right forearm to the thigh, left arm up and over, moving there from side to side with your breath. And then eagle arms, left arm on bottom this time. And inhale, elbows to the sky, and exhale, elbows to belly button. Same as we did on the first side, just a couple more times. We'll open right back up into warrior two. Windmill hands to the ground and find your vinyasa back to downward facing dog. From your down dog, we'll lower down onto the knees and pull back to child's pose. Just give yourself some space here for a few calming breaths. Feel the length up your spine. Feel your hips dropping back towards your heels. And then we'll lift right back up. Hips stay over knees this time. We'll come into puppy dog pose. So walk the hands forward. Let your heart melt down towards the ground. Forehead on the floor is option 1. Chin is option 2. Arms are nice and active here. And we'll come back up away from the floor, right back into downward facing dog. With your inhale, we'll take your right foot up to the sky. Bring it forward for your crescent pose. Left hand will stay down, right hand to the sky. Just like the first time we were here. You can stay right here. You can start to kickstand your side plank, or you can start to find full side plank. Maybe with a little reach overhead this time for length. Or maybe you step your right foot behind you and find wild thing. Heart lifting up towards the sky, hips lifting up to the sky. And we'll come right back up and over for your down dog. Right foot to the sky. And then slowly lower your right foot down to the ground. And we'll switch sides. Left foot lifts on your inhale. Exhale, crescent pose. Right hand on the floor, left hand to the sky. Stay here. Or find your supported kickstand side plank. Or regular side plank. Maybe stay here and play. Find side body length or variation, or take that top leg and step it back for wild thing. Finding lift and staying with your breath. And we'll come right back up and over, 3-legged down dog. Lower your foot down to the floor. Inhale, take your right foot up to the sky. Come forward for warrior 1. And as you lift up here, take a clasp behind your back, but with palms down towards the floor. So it'll feel a little bit different in the shoulders. And then release that and just grab your opposite arm behind your back. So wrists, forearms, or elbows. You can stay there, or you can take reverse prayer if that feels okay in your wrists and your shoulders. We'll straighten the front leg and dive in for Parsvottanasana. Always here, if you'd prefer to have your hands down on the ground, that's a great option as well. Feel your right hip shifting back, heart long and forward. And then we'll come right back up, release the arms, hands to the floor, and we'll make your way back downward facing dog. Of course, you can vinyasa if you like. And then we'll take your left foot to the sky on your inhale, come up for that warrior lunge. And then drop the hands back behind you into that kind of backwards clasp again. So palms down towards the floor. And then we'll release that when you're ready and find some sort of behind the back grab. So opposite arm or that reverse prayer. And keep whichever you find there. We'll straighten the front leg and dive in for Parsvottanasana. Long spine, lots of length. Bend the knee softly, come back up, release the arms, hands to the sky, big reach up. And then we'll find your way back, downward facing dog. And from your down dog, we'll lower the forearms down to the ground for dolphin pose, elbows below your shoulders. So many options here. You can stay in dolphin pose if you'd like. You can take one foot to the sky in dolphin pose, or you can come up for forearm stand. And if you want to go to a wall and pause the video for a bit to work on your forearm stand, you can definitely do that. So we'll be here for several breaths, just enjoying wherever you're at. Feel the elbows pressing down into the ground as the shoulders lift away from the ears and the neck here. So that's going to be up towards the ceiling. Give your neck lots of space. And then when you're ready, we'll come down into your child's pose. And let your arms wrap back around the legs here, reaching for your feet. And that's going to give a signal to your body that it's time to cool down a bit. When you're ready, we'll roll all the way over onto our back. We're going to set up for some back bends here. So knees bent, feet in line with your hips, heels hugged in towards your hips. Arms by your side. Round 1, you can just take bridge pose if you'd like. So softly press into the feet, start to lift your hips away from the ground. Arms can clasp beneath your back. Chest pulling towards your chin, but your jaw, your neck, your chin are all super relaxed. Nice steady breath. We'll slowly begin to lower the hips as you're ready. Let the knees drop side to side a few times. Identify what back bend you would like for round 2. So maybe you take another bridge pose. Maybe you're going to start to set up for Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. If you have a preference for camel or bow pose or upward facing dog, feel free to flip over onto your belly and take any back bend that you'd like. I'm going to personally do upward facing bow here. So when you're ready, set up for the back bend that you'd like and start to come on in. Moving from your breath, finding a sense of ease in the body amidst the effort. And then no rush, but when you are ready, we'll just slowly come on down. Again, letting your knees drop side to side. And then we'll let the knees come to center. We'll take your right ankle and cross the ankle over the left thigh. And start to hug the legs in for thread the needle. You can grab onto the left thigh or the left shin. Let the right knee softly drift away from your torso as your shoulders relax into the ground. You can stay there, or you can start to forklift the right shin or hold the right shin like a baby and let your left leg relax into the mat. So know that these are just options. You can stay in the original thread the needle shape. Whichever option you choose, let your body just completely relax into the ground. Let your breath be nice and stable. Nice and steady, nice and slow. And then we'll slowly start to bring your left leg back in if it dropped out. Release the arms, keep your legs in that thread the needle shape, and drop the legs over to the left for sleeping pigeon twist. Your left outer thigh will be on the floor. Your right knee will be pointing towards the sky or maybe back away from your head. And your right foot will be standing on the floor. Let your right hip and low back drop towards the ground. It won't touch, but just let it drop in. And then we'll slowly come back to center and we'll switch sides. So left ankle crossing right thigh. Hug the legs in for thread the needle when you're ready. Grabbing right thigh or right shin. Soften as much as you can into this shape. And know that you can stay here for the entire hip opening portion. Or if you feel like you want to go deeper, you can start to move your hands, either forklift that left shin or hold the left shin like a baby and let your right leg relax out onto the ground. Either bent in the right leg or straight. Either's great. And we'll just be here breathing and relaxing for a few rounds of breath. And we'll begin to bring the right leg back in if it released. Keep the legs as they are. Drop the arms out and fall the legs over into sleeping pigeon twist. Again, right outer thigh will be on the floor. Left foot will be standing on the ground. And then just drop your left hip and your low back towards the floor as much as is comfortable. And we'll come back to center on your inhale. Release the legs. We'll roll over onto your right side and slide your left arm underneath your back with the palm facing away from your back. So the hand might be in the small of your back or it might be between your shoulder blades, and then we'll roll back to lay on that hand and just let your left shoulder drop back towards the floor. Your legs can stay bent or they can straighten out here. And we'll just be here for a few rounds of breath, pinning that left hand beneath the back and trying to soften through that left shoulder to the left side of your neck. Right arm can be anywhere that's comfortable. The legs straightened, we'll bend them, roll over to the right, release the left hand, and then switch to the other side. So roll to the left, slide the right hand, palm facing away from your body, behind the back, and roll back to lay on the hand. Right shoulder dropping towards the floor, and then legs staying bent or legs straightening. Whatever feels most relaxing to you here. And then we'll begin to bend the knees. Roll to the side, release the hand. Come on to the back. Take the arms to the sky, fist the hands, and just roll those fists around in circles. And let your arms just drape across the chest. Hands dangling towards the ground, or maybe fingers wrapping around onto your shoulder blades. Start to feel the weight of your shoulders dropping into the ground. And then we'll just lift the hands and switch with the other arm closer to the chin. Start to feel your body relaxing into the ground. And then let your arms drop down by your sides for shavasana. Feel free to stay here as long as you have time to stay, and enjoy your day. Namaste, yogis.